Hello, hello, and welcome back to Peak Northwest, an outdoors and travel podcast by the Oregonian and Oregon Live, dedicated to the adventure and exploration of our beautiful Pacific Northwest. I'm Chiara Profenna, and my usual co-host Jamie Hale is out for the next couple episodes, so it's just me today and our guest Emily Purry, who is a Team USA blind surfer. Thank you for joining us here today, Emily.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Of course. And congrats on making Team USA. Can you just tell us a little bit about how it felt to find out you would be representing Oregon on this international stage?
It was quite the whirlwind, honestly. Nothing that I expected or really even thought could happen. I've been surfing for a very short time. I'm very new to the sport. And I was just going down to San Diego where there's water support for me. I have to surf with a guide to spot waves for me and make sure I'm safe and not running over other humans, minor things. And so I was just going down to have fun. And we were talking about competition. I've been an athlete all my life, and I was previously a soccer player, and I threw javelin in college. And so that was my passion, but I hadn't really been involved in that since I was young. And I was looking for a new sport, and I love to compete. And so I was talking to my guide at the time, and I was like, how far off am I from competing? And he was like, you can get out there and compete if you want to. I didn't know you wanted to. I was like, yes, let's do it. So it was a fast whirlwind. I needed to compete before trying out. And so there was only a couple more opportunities, a couple more contests to join. One was in Hawaii the following week, and the next one was in Japan, which was like 3 weeks away. And so
Wow.
I was like, okay, how do I make that happen? And he's like, I don't know, but if you can figure it out, you can try out in June of this last year, 2025. And so I was like, okay. I was like, I don't think I can pull off Hawaii. I have a speaking gig and I have my daughter that week. So I don't think I can do that. But as weird as it sounds, I think I can pull off Japan. And so I flew to Japan independently. It was my first time flying internationally by myself. And that was terrifying in itself. I had to buy my first board. I had to fly to Japan. I had to meet people I'd never seen before in my life. I talked to one of them on the phone once. I got picked up by a Japanese man who I love dearly now, Kenji, and he just knew my name. His English it's great, but it's not like we couldn't communicate much. And I didn't know Japanese enough. So he picked me up from the airport. I competed in Japan. And then I flew home, and 8 days later, I tried out for Team USA, and I made it. So,
oh my gosh, that's crazy to just like buying your own board, competing for the first time ever. What like a wild journey.
Absolutely, absolutely, so exciting, so fun. It was great. It still is great.
So, what was it about surfing that really drew you to the sport and the experience and like just being out there? What is that like?
So, like I said, I've been an athlete all my life, and I have a progressive eye disease. So I have Stargard's macular degeneration. And so I've been losing my sight since I was young. But like I said, I could still play soccer. I stopped playing in college because of my sight. And I threw javelin all 4 years, but you don't really need sight, which sounds silly because you're throwing a sharp spear. But hopefully nobody's getting in your way. So, I got married and I had kids and all the things. And then I really hadn't found a sport. I was a dragon boat. I paddled for a little while here in Portland. It's a big thing. And then I also called on one of the boats for a couple of years as well. But I really couldn't find a sport that didn't need my eyes. And so I really just didn't have that bucket of my life filled. And then for my 40th birthday, my amazing sister took me to Costa Rica for an all-women surf retreat. It's called Surf Bikini Retreat. Highly, highly recommend it for any women out there. Amazing people. And so I went there and I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. And the owner was willing to take a chance on a blind surfer and let me get in the water and she'll keep me safe. And so I went there and it was the first time I felt like an athlete in a long time. It was so hard. I was so sore. It was so challenging. It was such an adrenaline rush. And I just loved it. I fell in love with it. I said, oh my God, I can still be an athlete. I can be independent, somewhat independent. Obviously, I have to have a guide come out with me, but I'm the only one up out here. I'm the only one standing on these waves. And it started to bring my confidence back as far as who I used to be and how much I missed me as a human being. And I just felt amazing. Like I still remember I was like, let's do it. And I was out there for every minute of every session. Even the coaches were like, we can take breaks. And I'm like, nope, we're doing it. So, so that was the first time. And then I came home and continued to seek out support here in Oregon, but the adaptive community is not really established here in Oregon. And so I didn't have anybody to go out with me that knew what I was kind of dealing with or how I needed help. And so then I started flying down to San Diego to find the adaptive community down there that I knew was there. And so that's kind of how it all started. But it's that independence, it's the confidence, it's the adrenaline, it's the competition, it's the community that I've built that I've missed so much. And it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love how you describe being out on the water. I mean, surfing is one of those things that I've never done, but I've always been so curious about it. So it's very cool to hear how your experience and how quickly you kind of picked it up. Did you ever do any sports like similar to surfing?
No, I've never been. I mean, I've always grown up by the ocean. My grandparents had a beach house in Salishan
Uh-huh.
here in Oregon. And so we were always in the ocean, but we like body surfed and hung out, but I've never
Yeah.
really done, wakeboarding or anything else. The other piece about surfing that people describe is because the ocean is so massive and so powerful
Hmm.
and so amazing, like you can't think of anything else. There's nothing else. Like everything in life, especially right now, politics and the world and the state we're in and all the bad that's happening when you get up on those waves, there's so much going on that there's nothing else on your mind other than that one wave and surfing and trying to get up and surf down that line. And it's just like, it's amazing. It's just amazing. So,
Yeah, you have to be really, really focused and all in.
oh,
I
for
don't
sure.
surf,
For sure.
but
Yeah,
I
no, for
snowboard,
sure.
so I feel like that
Okay. Yeah.
to like a similar vibe. That's why I
Yes.
kind of am
Yes.
like, I think I could try surfing maybe at some point.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of crossovers. Yeah, for sure. A lot of
So
surfers snowboard in the
kind
winter. So, yeah.
and one of the things that I'm really curious about is you mentioned that there isn't much of an adaptive community here in Oregon, but have you done a lot of surfing in Oregon?
I have only been out, I think, 3 or 4 times in Oregon, which there's
Okay.
multiple reasons for that. One, just that the adaptive community. I have to have a guide out to come out with me. And
Hmm.
most of the Oregon instructors that are out here are instructors and they're here to make money, which makes total sense. And I just can't afford to, pay $200 a session or an hour to have somebody call me into waves. So it's a little bit different. And it, quite frankly, makes a lot of people nervous if they're not familiar with the adaptive world. And then also, it's really cold. The water's really, really
Yeah.
cold in Oregon.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I can
very cold.
imagine.
But honestly, as much as I hate the cold, if I had the water support up here, I definitely would surf in Oregon. Like that would be great. It's just it's hard. It's hard to build that trust with folks that I'm trusting them to keep me safe and call waves that I can handle and that are good for me. And so it's really a relationship that has to be built with between me and my guide.
Hmm.
And so it takes time. And then starting from scratch with somebody who's never guided anybody or been in the adaptive space at all is also takes time. So,
Right. And
mm,
so, for people that aren't super familiar with how adaptive surfing works, you mentioned calling waves. What does that
yes.
guiding process look like?
Yeah, so starting from the beach, just for me, and in parasurfing, there's not seven, nine, I can't remember, categories of disabilities. So we're all categorized into our own categories. And so I am a VI2 surfer, which is visually impaired 2. VI1 is completely blind, no usable vision at all. And then I'm a VI2 because I still have partial sight. And within my category, there's still a big variance. There's people who can see their own waves, but I cannot. So I have a sighted guide, another human that comes out with me. And from the beach, if you're walking towards the ocean, there's waves coming in. And a lot of times I can't see those. I can hear them, but they'll call me in and make sure I'm safe. So they'll tell me if a big wave's coming, they tell me to dive under. If a wave's, small enough, I can just go over top. Then they'll say over top or whatever. And so they get me out to the outside, which is where, the big blue water is, not the white water. They get me out there safely. So that's their first job, is to make sure I get out there safely. I don't get killed by too many waves on the way. And then from there, calling the waves. So they get me into place. So when I'm looking out at the ocean, I can't see any of the swells. I can't see any of the waves coming because it all is just open space to me. Whereas an experienced surfer or somebody that's learning to surf, they can start to see the swells from far away, anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds. They have time to, okay, I'm going to paddle over here, get into place, and then I'm going to get up and go. Well, I don't have that ability to see that. So my guide is out there and they are watching the waves and they say, okay, there's a good one coming in about 30 seconds. Just stay where you are, point towards the beach, and I'll paddle you in. So once the wave's getting close to me, because again, it's quiet out there. A lot of people think it's very noisy, like on the inside where the whitewater is, but it's quiet out there. It's very quiet. And so you can't hear that wave coming. So they'll tell me, okay, you're going to paddle in 3, 2, 1, paddle. And then once I feel the wave kind of pick me up, then I get up and I surf. At that point, they can either be on the wave with me. My current guide, he likes to be on the wave with me. Other guides like to kind of follow me in on the next wave behind me, but it just depends on the conditions and the competition and all of that. But then they follow me in because once I get inside, I can't find them again. So they they can call me, make noise or yell or whatever. But then I find my way back out, or they come and get me and they take me safely back out again. And so that's what the guide does. And, it's a big responsibility for them. A, safety is huge. And B, when we're in the lineup for competitions, you only have 25 minutes to catch. That's each heat. You have 25 minutes to catch your 2 best waves. And so I'm relying on them to call me into good waves that are going to get me points. Whereas a lot of surfers have to do that themselves. But obviously I can't. So that's the adaptive piece for me. And everything's different. Like a VI1, somebody who's completely blind, their guide is allowed to touch them or their board to get them into position or get them over waves. But as a VI2, we have to do all the paddling, all the over the waves. My guide is not allowed to touch my board or me as we go out or once we're out there. So there's different rules depending on your disability.
Yeah. That sounds like a really important relationship to have with your guide, to be able to, trust them enough to know what you're capable of.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting, the language. So I recently paired up with a new guide and we were just out surfing last week and he's saying, okay, go straight. So he had me kind of angled to the left and he said, go straight, so that I would turn straight, or what I thought was straight. And he's like, no, why do you keep turning? And I was like, because you're saying straight. And he's like, oh, okay. So if you're pointing the right direction, I need to say forward. I said, yes. Because I thought it meant straighten the board out. And he's like, okay. So it's these little language changes that make a huge difference, because he was getting frustrated. He's like, why do you keep turning? And I'm like, because you're telling me to. So figuring out that language, learning each other, him learning what waves are best for me at my ability level right now and how to push me beyond that, but also keep me comfortable in my current growth process, if you will. So yeah,
Right.
it's a huge relationship for
And
sure.
I can imagine kind of finessing that takes a little bit of time while you're training and preparing, but what else does your preparation for competition look like?
Yeah, so because I'm Oregon and I'm in Beaverton, so I'm inland a little bit for those of you listening.
Hmm.
I don't have a lot of time on the water. So I at home I strength train. I have a gym in my garage so that I can strength train on a regular basis. That's a huge part. And then I do as much surf training as I can. As far as I have my board in the garage, and I do a lot of like band work for paddling strength, and you get kind of creative trying to figure it out. I do pop ups at home,
Hmm.
so that becomes muscle memory. And then I'm really looking for a carve board right now, which is kind of like a skateboard, but it helps mimic the deck is really loose of the skateboard, and so it helps mimic the
Mm.
carving of the surfboard, but you can do it on land.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking to get one of those. But other than that, yeah, right now I travel to San Diego to work with my guide about once a month, if not more. But really, any kind of training, explosive training, it's a lot of sprints, because in that 25 minutes of a heat, you have to get up, get on the wave, paddle back, get up, get on a wave, and try to get the best waves and the most points on each wave. So
Hmm.
it's 25 minutes of going, going, going. So basically, everything I do, I train in 25 minutes.
Yeah. It takes a lot of stamina, I can imagine.
Yeah, and the ocean, like the conditions are, you never know what they're going to be. It could be a really smooth, easy day, and there's not a lot of
Hmm.
current pulling you left and right and back and forth, or it could be a really rough day and you're just getting tossed around and it's exhausting. So you kind of have to be ready for everything.
Right. And so coming up, what can you tell me about your next competition?
It's actually less than a week away. I'm super excited. So
Wow.
the
Okay.
yeah. So I'm in training season like the week before right now. Um Nutrition is huge right now. Tons of protein, tons of sleep. And then just keeping my body working as much as I can without stressing it too much. But the ISA, International Surfing Association Worlds competition is next week.
Mm.
So it's in California. It's going to be in Oceanside, and it's the November 2nd through the 7th. And so a bunch of countries. I don't want to quote it, but I think it's like 23, something like that. Different countries will be coming down. All adaptive surfers will be there, and I believe it's 120, 130, somewhere in there, maybe more athletes come from all around the world for our big ISA surf competition.
That's amazing. That's so exciting to hear that is so soon. I did not realize it
So
was
soon.
like
Yes.
next week. Yeah.
Next week. I fly out on
So
Fridays. So, yeah.
so how are you feeling? Nerves or excitement?
Both for sure. Definitely nervous, very excited. But it's the thing about this community has been like, it doesn't matter. It's still competition. Don't get me wrong, but everybody is so incredibly nice to each other. Everybody's so supportive, no matter what country they're from. Everybody's cheering everybody on.
Mhm.
Everybody's excited. It's just such an awesome community that it helps the nerves. It's not like, oh, I can't talk to so and so because they're my competition. No, everybody's great. I was out surfing with Team Canada last week. Like it's just a great environment. So that helps with the nerves. But I'm definitely excited. I definitely want to win. And there's going to be some
Mhm.
really good surfers there. So I don't know how many in my division. We don't usually find out till like the day before, but I think at least 4 or 5 that are my division and female. So that's exciting.
Yeah. And you kind of said, of course you want to win, but do you have
Yeah,
any
of
like
course.
goals for yourself?
I think right now my goal, and this is very vague, and but I think my goal every time I get in the water right now is just to improve. Really working on my
Mhm.
turns is really my goal right now, really specifically turns. But just to feel like I made even an inch of progress, any kind of progress at this point is just exciting to me. And then just really getting involved in the community. I'm still so new. My last competition in September, I got to know a lot more of my teammates, which was really fun. But like I said, as an athlete, I've always had a team around me. And for the last 10, 15 years, I really haven't. And so having that again is really exciting. So just getting to know people and being in community is super exciting to me. So can't wait.
Yeah. So, do you get to spend a lot of time outside of competitions with other Team USA surfers?
Um, Only when I go down there. So we started doing a team practice every Tuesday. So that's been great.
Hmm.
Just because now that we have that, we do get to see each other more often than just competitions. But then I think as I get to know people, not everybody's from where I go to practice, but there's a couple down in the area. So at least I can start building those relationships with them. And then we also do like other team trips. Like we just went to Revel, which is a wave pool in Arizona, which was super fun um, and amazing. And so a lot of us went down there for 2 days. And so, it's a travel trip. So we all stay in the same hotel and all that. So we get to know each other outside. And that was just a practice opportunity for some of us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really special because I mean, surfing is such an individual thing. So, to be able to share it with others sounds really, really cool.
Yeah. Fun for sure.
And for adaptive surfing, I'm sure a lot of people, this is a new concept to them. So,
Hmm.
why for you is it important to highlight adaptive sports in Oregon?
So people with disabilities tend to be told that they can't. Oh, it's too hard. Or we just think it's too hard and burdensome to achieve our goals because oftentimes we do need assistance. We do need help. Like I can't just go to the ocean like a lot of people do and meet up with friends and go surf. No, I have to have a dedicated guide. And I hate that in the sense that I just can't go, but I'm not willing to risk it to not be safe. And so if I wasn't in the position I'm in where I have the time and I have the drive to bother people or find that community or fly down to San Diego, um, I don't think it would be possible. But people have been with disability have been told like, oh, you can't surf because you can't see, or you can't surf because you can't stand up, or you can't surf because you only have one leg or one arm, or whatever the case may be. And so to raise awareness and to bring other people like me into the sports, even if it's not surfing is amazing, but if that's not your sport, there are other sports out there looking for para athletes that if you have the passion, you have the drive, find it and figure out how we can get you involved. um, and locally, it's just something that we have this ocean and we have an amazing surf community. It's just the awareness of there's people like me who want to get out there and need assistance. I need somebody. And I mean, for a surfer, you can take me out for an hour and then you can go out for an hour and then you can take me out for an hour. Like, it's not just about me. You can go surf too. But um, it's just knowing that it's a possibility. And especially for disabled people, I'm telling you, you can, and we'll find a way. You can, and we'll find a sport that you love. You can, and don't give up so easy because people will tell you you can't. And so that's the biggest thing for me is overall awareness about living a life that you want to. And I think so many people think sport is just for fun. That's a big thing. And you can ask any athlete. It's like, yes, it's fun. And it dramatically affects my physical well being. It dramatically affects my mental health well being. And for people with disabilities, it's like, oh, I'm alive, I'm taken care of, and that's good enough. But it's not. It's not if you're an athlete. If you're an athlete in your heart and you've played sports before and it may be something you lost like me, like sport is a part of my life. It is a part of my mental health. It is a part of my well-being. And that's not optional for me anymore. So if I can share that with other people, then let's figure it out. And that's the big piece for me.
Yeah, 100%. Just finding ways to get people outside too. I mean, you touched on the mental health aspect, but I mean, for everybody across the board, like being outside is so important. That's what we always really talk about on this podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's more difficult sometimes, and transportation's challenging, and there are a lot of barriers to being outdoors for folks with disabilities. But I think the more we raise awareness, and there's amazing organizations like Adventures Without Limits here in Oregon, they're getting people hiking and in all-terrain chairs and all sorts of things that we need to raise the awareness so people know about it.
Yes, absolutely. We did have an episode on Adventures Without Limits. I don't know if you heard that one,
I
but
love
that
them.
was
I didn't.
one of our last maybe a couple months ago at this point. We did talk to them. So
I love them.
very
They're great
cool.
people. Good people. So yeah.
Yeah. And for anybody listening, how can they follow your journey and hear, more competitions that you're participating in?
Absolutely. So my surfing channel is Strong Sightless Surfer. And so I'm on all the platforms with that, Strong Sightless Surfer. And so that's where I've been posting the journey from day one of me being like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this to now. So that's my Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and all that stuff. So that's that. And then I'm also the president of AmpSurf for the Pacific Northwest chapter. And AmpSurf focuses on getting people with disabilities and veterans out on the water to experience surfing. And so I am trying to raise funding for that as well, for an event here in Oregon next summer. So that's a big way. So if you follow ampsurf.org, there's a Pacific Northwest link in there that you can click on. And we're hoping to get an event up in Seaside. I just got to figure out dates. And then once we get that, you can follow ampsurf.org. If you're a person with a disability or family members, you're all welcome to come to those events. It's just an easy clinic where people surf however they can surf. If it's riding in on your belly, if it's getting up on your knees, if it's standing, whatever your ability is at the time, it's literally just to get people in the ocean and feel that joy and that confidence and that freedom and the amazingness that surfing offers.
Yeah, super cool. That is super exciting and great to know about. So thank you for shouting that out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And good luck on your upcoming competition. I think this is going to come out like right in the middle of that competition.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
exciting,
sure anyone listening can kind of hop on there and see how it went at this point. So super exciting.
Absolutely. And there'll be a live stream. I can share that if you're going to share the podcast, if we have it up and running. So yeah.
Awesome.
Exciting.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for
course.
joining us. It was great to talk to you and hear more about Team USA Adaptive Surfing.
Yes, stay tuned. It's exciting.
Well, folks, that is all for us today. But until next time, you can watch our videos on the Oregonian's YouTube channel and view all of our travel and outdoors coverage on OregonLive.com/travel, as well as here'isoregon.com. Please leave us a rating or review if you enjoy the show, and if you want to support this podcast as well as our local journalism, please consider a subscription to Oregon Live. You can find details at OregonLive.com/subscribe. Also, if you're a fan of the show and you're interested in potentially sponsoring it, you can get in touch with our marketing people at advertise@oregonian.com. This episode of the show is produced by me alongside Jamie Hale, Teresa Mahoney, and Vicki Connor. Stay safe and happy travels, everyone. Until next time, we leave you with this 10 seconds of Zen.